I wonder if they ever found that body.
Body?
Yeah.
What body?
I'll tell you later.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Sesh. Today got a special guest. Freddie, introduce yourself, man.
Hey, man, my name is Freddy G. I am a comedian that tries to be funny.
Well, you are actually funny because I've seen you live.
You seen me?
I've seen you at London.
I ain't never seen you. So.
Yeah, I'm in the back, dude. I usually help businesses and stuff get people in the doors. So I'm a person that helps get people in the doors to your comedy shows, man.
You're one of those that don't want to be fucked with, so you don't sit in front.
Yeah, no, actually, dude, this is the weirdest thing ever because I've always wanted to be fucked with. Like by comedians. I know it's the strangest thing in the world because you guys will go out of your way to fuck with people if they're being rude and obnoxious and stuff like that, right? Yeah. But I've always wanted to go in and then like that was always one of my things. Like, yeah, he's fucking making fun of me. It's the weirdest thing. I guess my brain works different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're a comic or whatever, I'll speak for myself. There's people that are different. Like, I won't fuck with audience members because I know you're there to enjoy the show. The only way that I'll fuck with somebody is if you're being disruptive.
I got
then
you.
I will go in until you either be quiet or leave.
Yeah.
I said it, until you be quiet or leave.
Yeah, I got you.
So, but if everything's good, I don't fuck with anybody.
So I've always been interested in comedy, dude. Like I find what you all do is one of the most courageous things in the world because y'all are putting yourself up there, and it's like the most tedious, nerve-wracking thing that I feel that you all are going up there, you're performing jokes, and if nobody fucking laughs, it like what is that feeling? Have you ever experienced that?
Of course.
Let's touch on that, man.
It's the way I see it is. I have stage fright to this day. I still have it. I've had it forever. So it is nerve-wracking when you're looking at everybody looking at you. And there's times that I want to go up there and be like, don't look at me, look away, close your eyes, whatever. What happens with me, something that I've learned is that I choose one person.
Okay.
One person in the audience. I look at that person in the face the whole night. I ignore everybody else. If I take my eyes off that person, that fear just comes right back. Huh. So it's hard, but it's something that at least me.
Right.
There's other people that enjoy it. There's other people. I enjoy it too, but the fear's still there.
So what is it about comedy that you're putting yourself out there, that you have stage fright? What is it about that you're willing to do it?
It's one of those things where I enjoy making people laugh. We do it for the laugh. It's a high, bro. For me, I've done drugs. I've done all kind of shit, and it's beautiful. They're delicious. Don't do them, but if you do, they're delicious. You know. But to me, there's no bigger high than the high of laughter. Just that energy that they bounce from you, then you bounce from them. It's just beautiful. Yeah. I've never experienced something like that. Well, maybe morphine, but but laughter, man. It's just a high. It's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah, it's the strangest thing in the world because I find myself doing a lot of uncomfortable things, and I've noticed that through those uncomfortable things that I grow a lot. So I'm figuring, like, obviously you're doing these uncomfortable things in every single weekend, and you're putting yourself out there. And are you experiencing growth?
I am experiencing growth.
Let me ask you, how do you know you're experiencing growth?
When you any time that you do something over and over and over again, you're gonna get better at it, no matter what it is. So what I've noticed is I pay attention a lot to when I'm performing, to like everything. I pay attention to what I'm doing, hand motions, movement, my delivery. So then I experience the growth when I notice that every show gets better. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. You're not always going to hit it out of the park the way you want it to. You're going to have, you're going to have nights that are off. But like I said, like we were talking off air, consistency. Yeah. Consistency is the biggest key to anything. So as long as you keep doing it, don't quit, even when you fail, even when you bomb, even when you get booed, just come back and figure it out. And just consistency is the key to everything.
Why is it that most people won't stay consistent?
Because it's hard. It's hard to fail and want to continue doing the thing that you're failing at.
Yeah.
That's why I'll never get married again.
Never get married again.
Never. Never in life will I get married again.
So let's stay on that subject then, because I feel like a lot of people are
getting married.
I'm getting married.
Oh,
on
shit.
that whole marriage. You said nothing was off limits, bro. So I'm going straight in, man. So let's stay on that subject, because I find it very interesting. Like, there's a lot of people that I see out there that are divorced, and there's a lot of people that
I'm
I feel
one of
out
them.
there that are unhappy too.
Yeah.
So kind of tell me your story, because maybe it can help somebody.
The best thing that I can tell you, man, is I don't shit on people that are married. If you're married and you're happy, do your thing. I wish you the best. Do whatever makes you happy. But the biggest advice that I could give somebody before they get married is make sure that that person that you're going to marry loves you more than you love them. Love them to the max, but pay attention and make sure that they love you more than you do, and that you can see that. Because I will also say this: if they're a certain way before you get married, they're going to continue being the same way after.
Right.
So don't think, oh, they'll change when we get married. It's not going to happen. It is just, and learn to compromise.
Yeah.
One time, I had an argument with my ex-wife, and I think it was about some shoes. I don't like for you to leave this shit here. You need to put it over there. That's why it's designated. We used to go back and forth all the time. So you have to learn to compromise. Mm-hmm. So I got to one point where I just moved the shoes, and you just don't say anything.
Gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And but don't let them walk all over you.
Yeah.
There's got to be a balance.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are unhappy nowadays, and I don't know if it's because of social media. Everybody gets to see everybody living their best life on social media, because people only put the good stuff on social media, 100%.
No, I've seen people put bad shit on. So it's like, bro, don't
go there.
Yeah, why? I don't need to know that shit about. Yeah, I've literally seen that. I've literally seen people air out all their laundry, like, publicly.
Yeah.
And that's just something you shouldn't. No matter how mad you get at that person, you have to remember, at one point, y'all are going to make up. Mm-hmm. But you've already put this shit out publicly.
It's always a constant reminder.
And now the world knows that you ain't shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I keep everything private is the best way to go. Yeah,
I always feel like the privacy on social media is like, everybody feels like they have to show every aspect of their life. They're showing their kids and stuff like that. The last thing I want to do is show people my kids on social media.
Exactly.
Like, that's not what it's for.
Yeah, exactly. See, and with me, I used to do that until my following started to grow. I started to get all these likes and followers and stuff. Then I realized that I could no longer post personal things. Yeah. Like I can no longer post pictures of my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I just.
Well, there's a lot of weirdos out there.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's people that I don't know. They know me. I don't know them. I don't know if you're a pedophile or not.
Yeah.
You know. So I've learned that I can no longer post anything personal.
Yeah, it's a strange world that we live in, man. Like, everybody has a voice, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like people need to get their stuff out one way or another.
Well, this is the thing. This is what social media did with everybody, I feel. We all have a voice, but just because you have a voice, it doesn't mean that your voice is important. So this is what I mean. I know people are going to kill me for that comment. I'm not a doctor, right? But I know a bunch of social media doctors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what I'm saying is, if it's not your space, don't, like, there's so many social media warriors, bro, is what I call them. Like, everybody got an opinion, and you got to listen to me because I know what's right.
Right.
Like, bro, you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, they feel social media did that. It did it in the way that it makes you feel like your opinion is important, even when it's not your space.
Right. Yeah. It's like stay in your lane. But even then, like some doctors and lawyers are wrong too. So
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
fuck,
for
man,
sure,
like,
for sure.
who do you go to for
Exactly.
actual advice? And that goes to another thing. And let me ask you this and get your opinion on it. I feel that there are very, very few role models out in the world. Do you see that?
Of course.
So who are your role models? Who do you look up to? What gives you that to keep going?
My first of all, God. At a very early age, God was instilled in me. I grew up in a very conservative home, Christian home. My mom was my biggest stronghold and everything. So God was who we were supposed to emulate. Now, I get it. You go out, your life changes. Sometimes we're not as godly as we should be, but I feel that you should still try, So that's why, like, that's another thing so to answer your question, God and my mother God's my role model. My mom was my other role model. But that's why now I know that my mom would have never supported my career as a comedian.
Okay.
Because it was a very conservative, home and everything. So I could never go to mom and be like, I want to be like Richard Pryor. Have a funny story. I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old when I found out that I wanted to be a comedian.
Huh.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't. So at 8 years old, we got an actual cable. We had never had cable before. Mm-hmm. We had HBO, right? And at 8 years old was the very first time that I ever saw Richard Pryor, the comedy special, Life on the Sunset Strip. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever watched it.
No, I haven't.
So,
life changing.
Yeah. So again, we grew up in a conservative home, man. Like you could, there was no fucks, no shits, you couldn't cuss, you couldn't, none of that. So I remember Richard came on at 10 and I had to be in bed by 9 because I got to go to school. So what I did was we used to have one of those small TVs with the little antennas on top, mm-hmm. the one you beat on to get a picture.
Yeah.
Well, we had cable and everything, and so I was there, and what I did was it came out at 10. So my parents went to sleep. They thought I was asleep. I woke up, went to the living room, and I got a big ass San Marcos blanket, and I put it over the TV and over myself. I was sweating and shit just watching it, right? And again, I'm 8 years old. I don't know what a joke is. I don't understand punchlines. I don't understand anything. All I heard was the shits and the fucks and the pussies and I was like, I was just laughing, but I didn't know what I was laughing at. And I was laughing, and it was then and there when I found out that that's what I wanted to do. So then, in the middle of that, I just hear, "What are you doing?" I just panicked and I dropped everything, and I looked, and my mom was there, and she was like, "What are you watching?" And Richard was going off with the fucks and the shit, and I was like, and I remember, I'll never forget what my mom told me. She said, "Why are you watching that? You're not supposed to watch this." And then she said, I was like, "Why not? Why can't I watch it?" And she was like, "You're not supposed to watch it because Richard Pryor is the devil."
Wow.
She didn't say he's possessed by the devil. She said Richard Pryor is the devil. But I was always a smart ass since I was a kid. So I looked at my mom and I was like, Well, if Richard Pryor's the devil, why is the devil so funny, man? She whooped my ass, and I slept warm that night, man.
Well, what is it about that though? I feel like a lot of people are constrained. A lot of people, right? Because they don't want you to know what's out there in the world. But once you see what's out there in the world, you're like, fuck. Like there's so much out there to experience. I feel like a lot of people, especially here in the Valley, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of people here live in a bubble.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, for sure. Because you go out to I used to live in LA. I lived in LA for 2 years. That's actually where I started my comedy career, but we'll go back to that. When I was 18 when I moved to LA, right? I moved over there not knowing the soul, I just went, right? And when I started living there through these different experiences, I realized how much in a bubble. I grew up here in the Valley, you know? So I realized how much in a bubble we actually lived. Like you saw a lot of, first of all, the diversity. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just talking about like black and white. It was Mexicans, it was Puerto Ricans, Cubans, it was like Jamaicans, and it was like a culture shock, right?
Yeah.
So it was just and then like over there, you could literally go and you could walk into a store or dispensary and you can buy weed.
Yeah.
I remember going and the pharmacist, an actual real pharmacist from Walgreens, because I have back problems. I have chronic back problems, right? So I was taking pills like Advil and stuff like that. And then the pharmacist told me, he was like, hey man, have you ever tried smoking marijuana? And I was like, yeah, of course. He's like, well, you can get you a medical card and you can go to the dispensary and they can give you marijuana. And I was like, well, what you mean? He's like, you go to the dispensary. And so I went, right? And I walked in and it looks like just a regular doctor's office. You walk in, bro, and they give you, have you ever been to a dispensary?
Yeah, I have.
It give you a fucking menu with like pictures on it and shit. And it shows you the strand, it shows you what it does. So I go and I was like, let me get that. And he's like, you need anything else? So she comes back, she gives me what I asked her for, and they give you this little black bag. And I paid, and I was like, so I can walk out and she was like, you're not from here, huh? I was like, nope. She's like, where you from? And I was like, Texas. He's like, oh, I get it. I was like, yeah. Are you sure, man? And she was like, yeah, you're fine. It was
mind-boggling, man.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the topic of that, because I feel like there's a lot of closet smokers out there, or a lot of people that don't just tell anybody that they
There's
smoke.
a lot of closet everything, man.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like weed for some people, it doesn't do anything to ruin their life. It's like alcohol for me. I had to give it up because I found out during COVID I was drinking all the fucking time.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was just detrimental to my life, and I just I would spend so much money on alcohol every single day out of habit.
Yeah.
Just because I would like, all right, let me drink a beer. Yeah. And then it would turn into 6, 8, 12, whatever.
Exactly.
So at one point when I started my health journey, I was like, alcohol really doesn't do anything for me anymore. All it did was make me hungover, sleep late, lazy. I'd ignore the people around me. Yeah. I didn't even remember the times that I was having that night. So it was like, it made no sense to me. Yeah. And I found that like through marijuana, I smoke, I feel like I'm a better human being. And it does absolutely nothing for my productivity, because I'm still doing things and I'm still achieving success. And I feel like it's a thing that people look back at and like it's a bad thing. Yeah. You're not supposed to do this.
It's just the stigma, man. The stigma that, everybody is bad. Again, I grew up in a conservative home. Marijuana, are you definitely not. But once you actually get out and you actually experience, like deal with it, yeah, I get it. Marijuana's a drug. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's just like I tell people, Tylenol's a drug too.
Yeah.
But when you get a headache, there's no problem popping a pill.
Right.
And nobody says that. So I'll put it like this: if you don't smoke, I'm not saying you should smoke. I'm not gonna condone you into doing something that you don't normally do. But for the people that do smoke, there's really nothing wrong with it as long as you do it responsibly.
Right.
Something that I hate is, like you're saying right now, people that because you smoke, you're automatically lazy.
Right.
And what I tell them is like, bro, if you smoke and if they're lazy, they were lazy before smoking.
That's true.
Like, it's not, that didn't change with marijuana. Don't blame that shit on weed.
Yeah.
Because I know some of the most productive people in the world and they smoke every day.
Yeah.
Snoop got like 50 jobs. So, I mean, but it's just the stigma that the media has attached to it.
Yeah, and it's stuck for years and years, especially here in the Rio Grande Valley, because
Yeah.
I would say there's like over 1 million Catholics here in the Rio Grande Valley. So automatically, if you say the word marijuana, it's just labeled bad.
Yeah.
Let's jump to another topic. We're talking about health earlier. You started lifting weights.
Well, started and lifting weights is, yeah, I did, man. I did because I noticed that you ever just sit down and you're sitting down and you're out of breath?
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not doing anything. And I'm not, that's when I was like, I got to do something. So I actually I started going to the gym. I've been going to the gym off and on for like years. But the pandemic, again, I'm not going to lie, I was in great shape before the pandemic. The pandemic fucked me up. I stopped going. I barely just got into it, like 3-4 months ago again to get it going. But I just started another thing. When I was on stage, and I was telling jokes, and I was winded and sweating. I was like, yo, I'm telling a joke.
Yeah.
You would have thought that I ran a marathon. And it was embarrassing, bro. Like when you're up there and like you're sweating and they seeing you and your head is shiny and I don't have hair. It was horrible, man. Like, so I was like, you know what? I have to do something about it again. I have all kinds of shit wrong with me. Like I have high blood pressure. I'm not diabetic, thank God, but I have high blood pressure. I have cholesterol. So I was like, I need to get those things in check again before the doctor decides to like put me on medication.
Right.
There's always, for me, I've always had a thing about taking a pill. I don't like taking pills. So anything that I can do to minimize that or avoid it, I will.
Yeah.
So I went back to the gym. I started drinking the green juices.
Yeah.
So I have juices, and it's been helping a lot.
You've noticed a difference?
Yeah. I've noticed a difference in my digestive system. That's what the first place I noticed it. I was always constipated. Bro, it feels so good to take a shit without pushing.
Yeah.
It's just, I just gave everybody a mental picture, ain't that sweet?
Well, I'd have to agree with you, man, because this is something that people don't really talk about. And I've started the carnivore diet. I'm on day 20. And what I was doing is I'm hitting about 200 grams of protein a day with fats, but then minimizing the carbs. So I noticed when I would take away, my diet is beef, 2 bananas, berries, and then more meat and eggs and all that stuff. Yeah. And I noticed when I wouldn't eat the bananas to go lower carb that my poop would be so damn hard. It'd be so hard to push out. Yeah. But the bananas help with everything. So I think that having that balance of knowing what your body can do with the foods that you eat is one of the most important things.
And you know the other beautiful thing, bro? My shit don't stink. It's just beautiful.
So you can now actually say, my shit don't stink, man.
Literally, my shit does not stink. That's another thing people don't know, man. Like, your shit, I get it. It comes out of your body. But naturally, it's not supposed to stink. The only reason that your shit stinks is because you have a really bad diet. when your shit starts smelling, and I've actually asked the doctor. He was like, no, if you eat clean, if you eat greens, if it's high protein, it'll go. I mean, it's still gonna smell like something at some point,
Yeah.
but not horribly to where like it'll clear out a funeral home and shit. Yeah, I've been eating clean almost as long as you have, and my shit don't stink. I don't struggle to take a shit no more, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, especially for men that had. Because I'm 41. How old are you?
I'm 36.
So for men that are already over 35, I feel like every man over 35 should be lifting weights, doing some type of cardio, eating well, because it only gets worse the older you get.
Exactly.
And it's the scariest thing, because I talk about this all the time. Is my grandpa's 93. I'm 41. He's still active. He still exercises, and he's still moving around.
Yeah.
And if I get to live as long as he does for 93, I'm 41. That's not very much fucking time at all.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of shit to do, and I can't do it with a body that is not going to help me get to that point.
Exactly.
Is what I'm trying to say.
My grandma, bro. My grandma's 83 years old,
Wow.
right? But she's active. The only problem with my grandma is that she has severe dementia, so she just forgets shit. You know what I'm saying? And but she's always been active. She's always she's in great shape physically, but it's just her mind is not there. It's funny because I was talking to my uncle like 5 days ago or whatever, and I was out doing something and I was busy, and he was like, "Hey man, your grandma's asking about you. She wants you to come over because I don't know what she needed or whatever." I was like, "Yo, I'll be there. Give me like 2 hours and I'll be there." So then he called me back like 30 minutes later, and he was like, "Hey man, are you coming over, you know, to see your grandma?" And I was like, "Bro, is she okay? Like, if there's something wrong or?" She's like, "No, she's fine. She just wants to see you or whatever." I was like, "All right, I'll be there like in an hour and a half." Call me back an hour later, and he was like, "Hey man, like, don't forget that you need to come over." And I was like, "Bro, you said she has dementia, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, tell her I just left." And he was like, "You're such an asshole, bro." I was like, just that's the solution, bro. No, tell her I just left. Yeah, man, I love my grandma to death, man. She's when she was there fully, she was one also that kept me on the straight and narrow. But at the same time, like my grandma is very blunt, like me. You know what I'm saying? So I think I get that from her and from my grandfather as well. I'm very blunt and straightforward, even when I shouldn't be, as they say. And the other day I was there with her, 'cause she lives with my dad, and that's another way that you could tell that you're getting old. Like, you ever just get up too fast?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got up, and I was like, and I just felt it in my back, and I was like, oh, it wasn't really bad, but I had to like stay, kind of just sit. I was like, okay, let me just hold on. So I'm there, and I'm like, and I couldn't get up. And then she was like, "Mijo, what's wrong?" And then she was like, my back hurts. She was like, "Do you want me to rub it?" And I was like, "No, just I'm fine. Just hold on." And she looked at me, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I love my grandma, but she pissed me off. She looked at me with a straight face, and she was like, "Mijo, you're so young. You shouldn't have all this pain." And I was like, "And you're old, and you shouldn't be alive, but we're here now." I mean,
it is what it is.
yeah, it's like. And yes, I said that to my grandma. I make no exceptions.
No exceptions. Hey, so when you come up with your material, how do you come up with it? Like, what's the thought process of that?
It's life, bro. You seen me on stage.
Yeah.
So everything that you've ever heard on stage, that really happened. Like it's a real experience. The only difference is that the only thing that's not real is the punchline, is honestly the only thing I've altered for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
But when I tell you that I was picked on by a dude in a wheelchair, I really was fucking picked on by a dude in a like that shit like really happened. I take all of these experiences, and I tell everybody, when you come see my show, it's my life on stage. That's
And you're comfortable with telling it.
yeah. You have to be, because if you're not, you have to be comfortable with who you are. This is what God gave you. This is what you have to work with.
How did you come to that realization? Because I feel like a lot of people will be into their 60s and they still won't realize that.
What exactly?
Like they didn't realize, like, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to be. This is the best of who I will become. And then this is what I'm going to do.
My grandfather, my mom's dad, he was the first person ever. Excuse me. He was the first person ever that he never once treated me different. And he told me, you're like everyone else, you just function different.
How old were you when we told you that?
8, 9. So that's where I was going. My grandfather, bro, he used to make me cut the yard. And I was like, and my excuse was not, I'm crippled.
Right.
My excuse was like, bro, I'm 8. You know what I mean? I can't see over this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, and then he was like, no, you press this button and you push. I mean, he'd be walking next to me or whatever.
Yeah.
But like my grandfather, bro, like he never treated me different. So he said, don't ever look at anybody else and try to be like somebody else. God made you this way for a reason, and you have to like embrace it.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, it's easy for you to say. You're not the one getting your shit kicked out of school every day. I mean,
Yeah.
But I learned, you know, I learned to take it from there, and I realized that.
Was it also the people that you surround yourself with? Because I feel like if you're hanging out with the wrong people, and it's that whole thing is like you show me your 4 or 5 friends that you hang out with and you become that extra person. Is that true?
Yes and no. Yes, because you can become that person if you allow yourself. No, because you have to be strong-minded enough to be yourself. And you're the only one that allows you to be influenced by whatever it is. I know people, I have friends, acquaintances that are addicted to crack. I've never smoked crack. I have acquaintances that are addicted to cocaine. I don't do cocaine anymore. And I still am around, like, not every day,
right,
but I still do see these people. I still do talk to these people. But it doesn't make me who they are.
Right.
That's their decision. I've made mine. I also come from that background. I did drugs. I was addicted to drugs. I was an alcoholic. It's funny that you said you put alcohol down. How long ago?
Probably about a year and 2 months.
How long have you been drinking?
Since I was like 18 to like 40 years old. So I started, I have a drink every now and then, but it really doesn't do anything for me anymore.
Yeah.
So I'll have like one, and I can manage it now.
Yeah.
I think what I found was the self-control aspect of it.
Yeah, I had that same problem, that's not why I quit, but I had that same problem. I used to drink every day. So I've been sober for 12 years now.
Oh, wow. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. It's been a horrible 12 years, but let's not focus on the negative.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it a congratulations thing? Because I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody quits alcohol, they just didn't have the testicular fortitude to say no, or to have some self-awareness, like, okay, let me limit myself.
I agree with you 1,000%. I was that person, and I'm still that person today. Like, I could never have just one beer. I had to have the whole carton.
Yeah.
Like, once I started, it was a wrap. And I feel like I'm still like that today. I have a very addictive personality, so anything that I pick up is very hard for me to put down. We go back to the working out thing.
Yeah.
Even with that, bro, I was going once a day, every day to the gym. I'm now doing twice a day.
Damn.
I don't need to do it, but it's just I'm getting addicted to it again. It's always been my personality. I've always had a hard time to really find that balance. You know what I'm saying? So same thing with alcohol. I drank every day. I didn't get drunk every day, but I did drink. Like, I did drink every day. I did drugs every day, and it was just very hard to be like, I'm only gonna smoke one blunt today.
Yeah.
Bro, I used to carry. You remember the buglers?
Yeah.
The rolls. You know what I'm saying? My grandfather used to roll those, right? So, and he used to put them in this plastic bag. I used to carry a plastic bag with pre-rolled blunts, and I just pull them out.
Next.
And I wouldn't sit there and smoke, but I would smoke in my sleep.
Damn.
I would go to sleep. I would set an alarm.
Wow.
For 2 a.m. I'd have the blunt next to me. I'd wake up just to smoke and go back to sleep. By the way, that was the best sleep ever.
That is known as addiction. That's the most important thing. I feel, because me and my business partner were talking about that the other day, that he would wake up first thing in the morning and smoke a blunt and have his coffee, and then he listened to some book. I forget what it was. And it's like, it's addiction, man. You don't need to wake up. You can sleep a little bit longer and just have some better sleep. Or you think that you need that to have the sleep that you need to get.
But is it though? Because I wasn't lying when I told you, when I was asleep high, I felt like I went into this like deep, and I would wake up like
re-energized.
I'm ready. Like, but I would wake up and spark again.
Yeah.
I would be smoking in the shower. and have you ever seen that one movie, The Wash, with Dr. Dre and Snoop?
I don't think so.
He literally just woke up, lights the blunt, goes in the shower. He has the soap tray. He uses it as an ashtray. So that was me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you should have some kind of control. I'll be honest with you. I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So I had to I stepped away from it completely. Like, I can't have one, I haven't, right? But I can't have like one beer. I can't do it. But I've been drinking since I was 13.
Yeah.
So I drank from when I was 13 to when I was 23,
Wow.
I think. At 21, bro, I was already trying to quit. I tried quitting 3 times. And failed miserably, relapsed. The last time around, I've been now sober for
So 12 years.
12 years, going on 13.
So if somebody's struggling with alcohol, what advice would you give them?
I'll give advice to the person going through it and to everybody else around that person. Something you got to realize is that you got to want to quit for you. Nobody else. That's 1. 2, you have to want to quit. If you don't want to, I hate to break it to you, you're not. You have to want to do it. If you're not all the way in, it's like marriage, bro. We touched on it. If you're not all the way in marriage, it's not going to work. You both have to. Same thing with trying to recover or stay sober. If you're not all the way in, it's not gonna happen. Yeah. So, and to the other people around an addict, don't ever tell an addict, just quit. Just say no. Because it's not that fucking simple. It's not. I guarantee you that at least 50% of people that are addicted to hard drugs like heroin, cocaine, whatever, a lot of them, especially the older ones, I really feel like they don't want to do it anymore. You just can't. And it's not that you absolutely can. It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Because it's become such a part of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then your body becomes dependent on it. The more that your body becomes dependent on it, the harder it is to like stray away from it or whatever.
Yeah, no, and I've found that too, that we're just usually humans are replacing one thing with another. So for
Exactly.
example, it's just like the drinking, okay, you're not drinking anymore, now you're smoking weed. Or if you're not smoking weed, now you're working out. Working out is another stimulus. And that's why I work out 3 times a week now, and I lift heavy ass weights because I've done it consistently for a year and 3 months without fail every single week. But I had to do that to become disciplined.
Exactly.
The only way that would ever work, because now when I think about not doing it, I miss it and I want to go, and it's just this doing it consistently over time, again and again and again. And that's the same thing with like the diets that I go on. Like I'll do it consistently for a long time until I get that discipline behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the key aspects that a lot of people do is that or won't do, is that they just need to be consistent long enough until it becomes a habit.
Yeah. It like I was telling you earlier, it's with everything. You're not gonna become good at anything. You know why and a lot of people will disagree. You know why you're consistent at breathing, and why you don't lose your breath?
Sure.
Because you fucking do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's your body. No, oh, I have to breathe, right? Same thing with anything else. Water. We have to consume 8 to 12 glasses a day. A lot of people don't do that. Oh, it's nasty. I don't like it. Whatever. It's fine. And to some extent, it could be true. But I guarantee you, if you start doing it little by little, drinking water every day, you're going to get up to 12 glasses by the time you remember it. Consistency. You just have to, even if you don't like it, you have to consistently do it over and over again. And then, like you said, it becomes a part of you. But I think as human beings, for most of us, especially me, it's very hard to stay consistent. And then aside from that, a lot of us are wired to blame everything else. Oh, well, I got a job. I got to wake up early. I got this. I have a daughter. Yeah, it's true. I don't remember who said this. I don't remember if it was Bill Gates or one of the billionaires. They said everybody gets the same 24 hours to hustle.
Yeah.
The difference is what you decide to do with your 24.
Yeah.
It's true, bro.
I completely agree, man. It's there's so much to life that people are going to give power to things and other power to things, but like your words shape your reality. And I've found this, and this is the weirdest thing ever, because I feel like when I talk about this stuff, a lot of people are like, oh, that's foo-foo stuff you put out into the world. But I found this to be true because I do it and it works every single time. The words I speak out into existence, I'm very careful about the words I speak out because I know that they will become true. So the things that I say will become true, especially if I write them down and put them out into the world. Have you experienced that?
Yes, but I want to add something to that. That's true. Whatever you say will come to fruition. It will happen. You will see it. But this is the second most important, or the most important part to that statement. You need to put in the work behind it.
The action.
Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Everybody wants the money. But when you ask them, what are you doing to get there? Well, I work a 9 to 5. And I tell people this. Name me one person on earth out of 7 billion that has ever worked a 9 to 5 only and retired a millionaire. One. I guarantee you won't find them.
Yeah.
Because in order to get that extra money, It's very simple. You have to put in the extra work. But if you're just gonna sit here and be like, oh well, God gonna bless me,
Right.
God gonna give it to me, and He will, but you need to put the work in behind it. I mean, if you're not doing it, and these things take time. Like everybody want to be a comedian, everybody want to be a movie star, everybody, but they think that, you know, when they reach the level, because they see the levels of your Fluffies, of your Chappelles, of your Bill Burrs, and they think that's what it is. But there is a million Freddys that are scratching the bottom.
Yeah.
And you have to go through this cycle, like, of putting in the work. You can never cheat the work.
Yeah.
If you don't put in the work, you're not going to get that in return.
And I get why people fail, because it's fucking hard.
Exactly.
It's hard, and then sometimes
And everybody wants to be comfortable, and nobody wants to be uncomfortable. As soon as you feel the slightest uncomfort, oh, fuck that. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying?
which I can imagine happens a lot in comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, I've known of people that go up on stage, they get a few laughs, and it bites you. Ooh, shit, I got it. Go back the next night, and they bomb. Oh, fuck that. I did that, bro. So going back to LA, I actually started my comedy career in Los Angeles. I went in reverse. I started my comedy in November of 2008. As the first time I ever picked up a mic. And it was by accident, dude. Again, I have stage fright. Back then, I was heavy into drugs. I was heavy into alcohol. We were at a little bar, and I was with a friend, and I was there drinking. Now, mind you, I'm well into half a bottle of Jose Cuervo by now. So I'm gone. I'm there, but I'm gone. So I'm there, we're chilling, whatever. And my friend, so this guy, I didn't even know. I didn't know what an open mic was. I didn't know performing, none of that. So this guy comes up and he's like, all right, it's that time of the night, you know, if you think you're funny, you know, come up here. And my friend was like, hey, Fred, you funny, go up there. It's like, no, bro, don't fuck with me. I'm enjoying my drink, I'm good. Like, go, man, you're funny. I was like, bro, I'm not that funny. Chill, relax. This dude gets up and he's like, him right here. And then the guy was like, yo, come on, bro, your friend's saying you're funny and everything. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not funny. I'm good. And then he literally said, all right, man, they have those little spotlights. Yeah. So he put the spotlight on me and he was like, all right, man, if you don't come up here right now, we'll make this whole segment about you.
Damn.
So I got up. I was drunk as shit. And I went up there and I literally started to pray. Wow. I was like, God, if you can, I have stage fright. My legs were shaking. I started to sweat. I was like, God, if you see me if you can help me out of this one, I swear to God, I'll be in church Sunday morning. So I get on stage. And I was drunk, and I just remember looking at everybody. It was a small bar. Everybody was looking at me, and I remember just blurting out the very first words out of my mouth. And I said, I just want to make a real quick disclaimer. I'm a virgin. And the whole bar just started laughing, right? And I was like, oh, yo, hold on. I'm trying to tell y'all that it's my first time doing this right here, man, this. So I just went on. I went on. I can't even call it a set because I just remember started talking. But I remember everybody laughing, right? So I got off stage. It felt good. It felt weird, but it felt good. Weird good. I don't know how to explain it exactly. Got off stage. My friend was all hype. I told you, man. I told you. So my friend went over to the manager, not even me, and he was like, hey, man, how often y'all do this shit? Because my friend want to come back. He's like, we'll do it every week, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So he told me, he was like, man, you got to come back. And I didn't even want to do it, bro, because I was like, yo, like, I'm not, you know. And so we leave. He convinced me to come back the next week, right? Mm-hmm. And I come back, go back on stage. Now, mind you, I was sober this time.
Different experience.
I get on stage. I felt like I was gonna shit on myself. Like the fear that came over me, and there was only like 10 people.
Oh, geez.
10 people, that was it. And I go up. Oh, so when I went back, remember, I don't know how to write a joke. I don't know a punchline. I don't, but I wrote something. Because I was like, you know, I'm going to come back. I'm going to hit them hard.
Yeah.
I want to be structured. I was trying to be a professional, right? According to me. So I wrote some stuff during the week, whatever. Came back, got on stage, went into my first joke. Silence. Went into my second joke. Silence.
Oh, jeez.
Silence, bro. You could hear crickets. I started sweating, and I kept going. Silence, and I got off stage, and it was the most horrible feeling in the world. I was like, and I was mad. And I went off on my friend. Man, fuck you. It's because of you that I'm here, and I shouldn't have listened to your stupid ass. I knew that this wasn't going to be good. And then he was like, no, man, don't worry about it. Dude, you just got to come back. You just got to, go back and write. Now, keep in mind, my friend was not a comedian. He's not a comedian. He doesn't know anything about that. He was a drug dealer. That's what he did, But he was like, yo, you got to come back, and you got to write some shit, and you got to figure. And I was like, nah, man, fuck you. I shouldn't have listened to you. And we're literally arguing in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard. We're like arguing, going back and forth. And he was like, I shouldn't have listened to you. And then I remember he yelled at me. And he was like, you got to stop being a bitch and just go back and figure it out. And he told me, again, keep in mind, he wasn't a comedian. He was like, the problem was that you didn't tell them anything. And I was like, what do you mean? They don't know who you are. They don't know where you're from. They don't know anything about you. You went up there and you said a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Go back, write something, but tell them something about you. And be yourself. That's what he told me. And I did. I went back. I wrote again. I don't know no structure. I don't know any way of writing anything. But I thought, I wrote what I thought, would work. But I never forgot that. He was like, tell them something about you and be yourself. So I just started writing these stories, right, about me. And I went back second time around. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't as funny, but I never forget, I managed to get 3 solid laughs. And that's when I knew. I was like, I'm onto something.
Yeah.
And then it bit me. I was like, I can do it. And I've always been a writer. Like, I've written a book. I've written stories. And I've always been a writer. So I can write. It's just writing and being funny.
Yeah.
And then combining them. And then performing that.
Yeah. They're all different things.
It is a whole different animal when you have to put them together.
Yeah. And
like that's the difficult part.
So if it had not been for your drug dealer friend, you would have never been a comedian.
Exactly.
Wow.
No. And there's more to that story, but yeah, like that's exactly right. Had it not, he was the first one in my life that I can tell you he believed in me more than I believed in myself.
Wow.
He was like, bro, you can do it. And I remember telling him, I was like, well, so why don't you do this shit if it's so easy? He's like, man, I don't know how to do this shit. And he literally told me, this was like the sad part of that conversation. I remember him telling me, because he had been dealing drugs for like ever, right? And I remember him telling me, I was like, look, bro, I've been on my own since I was 14 years old, and everything I ever gotten, like I gotten on my own. And he literally said, he was like, drug dealing is the only thing I ever picked up and I was ever good at. He was like, I worked for McDonald's for a week and I got fired. And he told me that, but he's like, he told me, he's like, but you have something where you have the ability to make people laugh.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
And he was the one that like put me onto that. And that's how I got started.
Yeah, some people will see more in you than you see in yourself. It's a very interesting thing. Let me ask you this question before we finish out the podcast. How do you view time at your age? How do you view time now going forward?
I view it as, I have this thing where I feel like I wasted a lot of time. I wasted a lot of time through my drug use, through my drinking, there was years that I didn't do shit. I was just living. So now, at the point where I'm at now, with all the shit that I know, I feel like I'm on a race against time, because I could be here today, but I could be gone tomorrow. I mean, hopefully not, but that's the reality of it. So I feel that at the space where I'm at now, I'm older and I'm only gonna get older. So it's kind of downhill from here. So I only have so much time that I don't know how much it is, to accomplish whatever it is that I need to accomplish. So the thing that sucks is that I just realized this like 5 years ago. But had I known the shit that I know now back then, I would have, gotten a jump on it earlier. I tell everybody, man, it's not just with comedy. It's like, had I known about investing when I was 18, I would fucking be a millionaire by now. There's a story that I read online, just to give you perspective. People that invested $10,000 in Amazon in '96, they would have 15 million today.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I'll bring you closer to not that long ago. People that invested something like 20 grand into Uber when it got started would be millionaires by now. You know what I'm saying? So had I known all of that, had I been educated, and that's the problem that I have with school. You know what I'm saying? Everybody tells you, go to school. You want to be somebody, go to school. It's not for everybody. It's not, man. And just because somebody doesn't go to school, you can't label them a failure.
Right.
I was told that my whole life. I was told, if you don't go to school, you're not going to be anybody. They told me like that. So there's just different ways. It's just, you need to come into the information earlier. And that's something that I disagree with school. I mean, I don't know if they do it now, because I haven't been in school in years, but I wanted school to teach me about investing. You know what I'm saying? About interest rates. You know something that I wish that school would have taught me? Fucking taxes, bro.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When I got my first fucking check, I was like, what is this shit? And my uncle was like, oh, man, well, you got to pay Uncle Sam. I was like, who the fuck is that? He never been to any of my Christmas parties. I never got a present. I wish they would have shown me taxes, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I did fucking learn in school? 1A plus 2B equals 3 5B. I haven't used that my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, but that's what I wish. That's where I see myself with the things that I do. Like, you can't rely on the past. You can't dwell on the past. So just with what I do know now, move forward and try my best to accomplish what I thought that I would have accomplished by now.
Yeah.
Had I known.
Yeah, there is a ignorance tax that people pay, and it's kind of a shitty thing. But if you do not go out of your way to learn new skills, to learn new things, just to put yourself out there and just learn about what's going on in the world, you're gonna pay the ignorance tax. And sometimes it takes at least 10 years, 15 years by the time you figure out, fuck, I could have done that so long ago. And I always talk about skill stacking because this is what I've been doing. Is with my studio and my digital agency is I find skills that are relevant around what the main thing is what I do. So, for example, like digital marketing. So I'm a certified digital marketer, but I also learned video skills. I learned editing skills. I learned advertising skills. They all bring back into a skill structure where you're able to increase your knowledge, increase your capability to earn more. And I feel like that's a lot of things that people won't do is they won't invest in themselves.
Yeah.
Is that something that you see?
I see it a lot with myself too. But you know why? Our biggest problem is that we're wired into thinking now. Like if I show that's why I believe the majority of the people, they're stuck in a 9 to 5 because it's the security of knowing. It's the security of knowing as long as I show up to this fucking building, I don't fuck up, I'm going to get a check on Friday.
Well, that's not even true the case anymore because people, I find that now you do a really good job and you I heard this the other day that he got Employee of the Year in December and in January they fired his ass.
Exactly. That's where I was going to go. That was how I was going to cap that statement. So we're groomed to believe this shit. You show up to work, you don't fuck up, you get a check on Friday, and it's that security. But with the world changing and you not evolving like you're evolving into video, and I gotta know video, I gotta know editing, I gotta, you're leaving the destiny of your financial situation in somebody else's hands. Yeah. So at the end of the day, these conglomerates that run these companies, like you said, they could come and be like, yo, I don't need you no more.
Yeah.
And now that check that you were securely receiving on Friday is not there anymore. And if you don't know what else to do, if you're not versed, if you don't know video, if you don't know audio, if you don't know, you could be a great marketer, but if you don't know how to use those skills to your advantage, that does nothing for you. So I've also learned that you have to be, you have to try to be well versed. In case one door closes, well, I can look at another one. You know what I mean? And I think, but it goes back to like a lot of people, especially like our older generation, like me, you, like, especially when you have immigrant parents and stuff like that, like they weren't brought up on this game either.
Right.
Like billionaires are teaching that to their kids, but because that's what they know. Yeah. But when your background is not from that, it's difficult. Yeah. So yeah, man, I wish that people, schools, or whatever the case may be, would get you better prepared in that. Teach me something that I can use over and over in life.
Yeah. And the best way to do that is if you find somebody that's doing what you love, even if it's comedy or doing business, go out of your way to figure out how to help them, to add value to them. Because if you don't add value to them, then you're no use to them.
Exactly.
So I found that to be the most strangest things. Like people want things to land in their lap and it just does not work.
Exactly.
Like that. They're not willing to put in the work.
You have to put in the work. Nobody's going to hand it to you. I've fell, victim or whatever to that too. It's like nobody's gonna make, like me. I don't have a manager. I don't have an agent. I don't have any of that shit. Anything that I get, any show or whatever, with the graces of other people and my networking connections and stuff like that, I've been able to get into places. But this is me hunting these things down. If I don't do that, ain't nobody gonna bring me.
Yeah, you'll literally be sitting on your couch.
Exactly, and it's up to us to put in that work and that consistency. Now, not to shit on the people that actually did open doors for me and stuff like that. Like I'm indebted to like Raymond and Mario, because when I came back down here to Texas, I didn't know where to continue with what I was already doing and whatnot. And I luckily I was able to run into Mario. We built this friendship and this relationship. And, he's opened a lot of doors for me, and he's given me opportunities. Raymond Orta has also given me a lot of opportunities, and we also have to be grateful for that. But that's also part of, like, the networking. Yeah. And it's a great thing that you said right now. Like, when you network with people and you have a skill that I don't, right? So how is it that I can help you with your skill and your skill help me? And that's one of the most valuable currencies that I've learned. The relationships are currency. Yeah. And that's shit that a lot of the times you can't buy. Well, I mean, unless you're a politician and a billionaire, that's a different story. But other than that, like organic relationships, those are priceless, man. And those are what really opens like the doors for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it goes back to the same thing. You have to be consistent. Anything that you're not consistent with, you're not gonna see it. You can't go do 1, 2, 3 shows or whatever, and then go back home and sit and be like, oh, I done now. I just wait. It's a never-ending thing. So that's the last thing that I want to say on that. That's why now I encourage people to do what you're passionate about and what you love. Because if you do anything just for the money, I guarantee you that it's gonna drive you crazy and it's gonna make you miserable. I do comedy and I walked into comedy because it's what I love to do. And for all the people that think that just because you see me on stage, you shouldn't see me do these shows, and I'm still broke. I'm still broke. There's no the only reason I say that is because if you think that within comedy or within being a podcaster, a YouTuber, there's thousands of us. So it's not a quick bag.
Yeah, to prove your points, I got paid $5.35 for thousands of views that I put on YouTube.
That's exactly my point. But with the marketing thing, so perfect example to that. But with the right marketing, sponsors. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So with me, I make money from shows. Sometimes I can't even get motherfuckers to show up. So I can't just rely on ticket sales or whatever. So shopping sponsors for shows, sponsors for, digital shows, live shows, whatever. That's another way of getting more, a bigger bang for your buck, as they say. Yeah. But again, it goes back to the currency of relationship. You can't get these things if you don't work your way into relationships with other people that, have it and whatnot.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, man. So before we finish off the podcast, let everybody know what's coming up, man.
At this very moment, the only thing I see coming up is a meal because I'm starving. I do intermittent fasting, bro.
Same here, man. Yeah. I fast till 12, from 10 to 12.
Nah, I do 10. What do you mean?
From 10 p.m. at night to 12 p.m. the next day.
I do it from 8 p.m. to 1 p.m.
Damn,
Sometimes 2.
How long is it? How many hours is that?
18, I think.
18, yeah.
I was in special ed, bro. So
I was doing about 18 at one point, but I was like, nah, I'm getting a little hungry now. So yeah. I found that too. How does it feel?
It's so I was gonna tap into that real quick. The mental clarity, bro.
Yeah.
I was gonna tap into that with being sober. So being sober all these years, and now with like the carnivore diet and the intermittent fasting, the mental clarity, like I can think.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say, well, we all think, no, but you don't get it. Before I was like in this mental fog, like everything was slow. And it's fucked up. I have cerebral palsy, so with me, everything is extra slow already. But when I started to clean up my diet, when I started to work out, when I started to do these things, getting sober, like the mental clarity. And, fasting, it's the same thing. Your body is not wasting all that energy on digesting food.
Yeah.
So it sets the energy everywhere else that your body needs it. So and I'm a lot more agile too. Yeah. Like the cardio, I do cardio fasted.
Yeah.
Have you ever done?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to lift weights fasted and do cardio fasted, and then
I get lightheaded.
Yeah.
When I do weights fasted, I can't do it. I don't know if it's just me or not, because mid workout I get lightheaded.
Yeah.
But I like doing fasted cardio because I feel like I have a lot more energy. Yeah. I don't feel bloated. I don't feel there's nothing in my stomach. So I try to do that in the morning. At 5, I get my cardio in, and then from there I'm ready to go.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, fasting. The mental clarity that comes with it, and the focus too. Because I found myself that I can focus on things longer.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Have you experienced that too?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I'm even noticing it now here doing this interview with you. I have ADD and I'm dyslexic, right? So ADD, basically, very long story short, you either pay too much attention to detail or not enough. So a lot of the times when I talk to people, and I get it, y'all call me an asshole or whatever. So a lot of the times when I talk to people, I tend to drift off, bro. I don't do it on purpose, right, but I just know it's my ADD. But I've noticed with like the fasting, doing the green juices, doing the cardio and the working out, like I'm just laser. Like I noticed, I don't know if I hadn't paid attention to it before, but during this interview, I've been lasered in.
Yeah, because you even went back to the topic that we were talking about. Like we went off subject and went to answer your question. That's a very powerful thing.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
Yeah, I didn't know I did that, but thank you. I'll take it.
Yeah, I noticed those little things, man.
Yeah. So yeah, man. It's the mental clarity and everything. It's through the roof, and I won't have to do cocaine anymore.
No more cocaine, man. It's a good thing.
No more cocaine, man. I used to do, and I didn't use it just for recreational purposes. It's just, believe it or not, cocaine makes you focus, sometimes too focused, but it works.
Yeah.
It works. I don't condone the use of cocaine. I'm just saying.
Just an observation for the world, man. Yeah. Hey, Freddy, I'd love to thank you for coming on the podcast, man. Thank you for your time, bro.
This was fun. This was really fun, man. I hope it's not the first and the only. So
absolutely not. I'd love to have you back.
I had a great time, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll see you on the next sesh. Peace.